Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nobody Is Shiftier. Because, in fact, nobody is shiftier than the Shifty Hippo. Guys, I like to start off the show by doing something a little bit non sports related. Today, I'm here to give somewhat of a PSA. Bachelor parties, just don't do them. I care about you. You're going to come back a different person. Just everything's going to go poorly. Now, you're going to have a great time. Believe me, the time you're going to have, you will never have doing anything else throughout the rest of your course of life. Whatever the path is, whatever path you go down, wherever it takes you, probably won't have as much fun as you will at a bachelor party. But dear God, the consequences, especially for those of you who listen that are of similar age to myself, I'm in my early 30s. Yeah, the recovery doesn't work like it used to. Just to, kind of dive through this more so than into it. Started with a pregame at noon. We had a party bus. We rode on the bus for, well, not on the bus for 5 hours, but we just kept making stops at different breweries. And we'd get a couple of beers here, a couple there, come back from that. And we could also bring beers onto the bus. So we were sitting there drinking on the bus the whole time. It was a blast. By the time we get back from the bus trip, by the way, this is 7 p.m. that we're done with the bus. I think by the time we got back, it was close to 8. And, well, was already kind of feeling it. So was just about everybody else. Well, immediately friends of mine start ordering their Ubers to the strip club because that's what you do when there's a bachelor party. I personally like doing that when it's, not 8 p.m. I thought maybe we could hang out, mess around, maybe get some card games going or something. Just something to pass the time till around 10. That's more of a strip club time. Right about 10. You get a bunch of drunk guys in there at 8 p.m. Money is being blown. Like, also maybe quite literally. But these guys got their animals, as always. I actually, for the most part at the strip club, hung back with two of my more reserved friends, which I am not. I'm usually somebody that's like right at the center of the party. But in this particular circumstance, all I can think to myself is I'm like, I cannot spend this much money here. Like, I just can't do it. So when I first got there, I was up at the stage. I'm throwing bills out there. But what I do strategically is I take all the bills and I put them next to my most awkward friend. That way, the strippers are immediately going towards him because I just like watching his awkward interactions with people in general. And it's even funnier when they're naked. So I was having a blast with that. And then after people started really getting dances and all that, I said, you know what? There's tables back here, isn't there? So I went and hung out at one of those, spent 100 to give the groom to be a nice little time in the champagne room. Me and another friend split that. And outside of that, I just spent whatever I spent on beers from then on out. I know, sounds kind of boring for, your strip club experience, but I don't see the point anymore. Now, I saw it in my 20s. I totally understood the premise. You're there to have fun. Now I'm like, well, I don't feel like I need this. I like being here, but I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars for things that I can find on the internet. So it's not really the same experience for me now in my 30s as it was for me in my 20s. But we got back from that, and well, that wasn't going to be bedtime. I ended up being up till Michelle picked me up, and somehow Michelle got stuck at work till about 3:30. A little bit before, because she picked me up at 3:30. We get back home, and I think I hung out with her for it was damn near 2 hours. I think when I went to bed, it was like 4:47. The first Sunday of football season. Woof. I didn't fall asleep. Now I nodded off a couple of times, but literally just like fell asleep, woke up immediately, kind of that sleep. I had that happen to me a couple of times during the Pats Dolphins game because just holy shit, that game was boring. However, I was intrigued. I was definitely interested. I was watching every second of it outside of the few seconds that I like nodded off for literally a second. Watched the Chiefs Cardinals game, still felt like shit. Granted, that was fun to watch. We'll get into why in a little bit here. And then inevitably that game got turned off because, well, Chiefs were up 37-7, I think, at that point. So they flipped it over to the Raiders Chargers game, which was definitely more competitive. We'll go there. So, moral of the story being bachelor parties. Don't do it. I care about you. We're going to have a sip of beer and we're going to dive right on into this week. All right, guys. First things first, we got some big NBA news. Where the hell did it go? Like the NBA as a whole. What happened? I haven't thought about it in a week. I went to go do my show prep, and I always start with NBA stuff. I try to leave football for last. So I wrote down NBA and then realized I haven't thought about the NBA since last Thursday. That was like I woke up last Thursday already forgetting the NBA existed. And this is why I say to myself, like, this is how much I know that football is so much more king than every other sport because I love the NBA. It is super near and dear to my heart. But when it's in the off season and then football starts up, we've seen pretty much everything that's going to happen in free agency in the NBA. We've seen the majority of any trades that are going to take place going into the NBA season. There ain't shit going on over there, and I don't have time to start projecting what's going on in the NBA because football started up last Thursday, and I have not thought about anything in the realm of sports outside of what's been going on in the NFL. You know what? I take it back. Saturday, I checked twice to see what the college scores were. Didn't watch any of the games, but I checked the scores a couple of times. One of my buddies at the bachelor party, he had a bunch of money on a bunch of the games. So was paying attention with him. Score watching, though, not watching the games. So with that said, that's a little bit of a putting the NBA to rest here for at least a little bit. Probably, I'll be back in there in about a month. But right now, it is all about the beginning of the NFL season. Guys, we're going to start talking a little bit about what we saw in week one. And it began with the opening game of the NFL season. Oh, the Bills have begun their warpath. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, did you see what the Bills did to the Rams? Now, granted, yes, I agree that the Rams look disappointing. I don't think that the Bills are that much better than the Rams. But I do think that this signifies everything that I've said leading up to this NFL season about the Bills, that they are here for the warpath. The only place where I get concerned with Buffalo is what happens when it's the Chiefs in the postseason. And it could be other teams too. I could see the Ravens maybe making something out of it. The Chargers, if Denver can figure out with whatever they need to fix. I could still see a scenario in which you don't want Russell Wilson driving down the field on you in a playoff game late in the game. That's not a scenario that I feel great about, even with Buffalo's defense, which looked phenomenal, by the way. That addition of Von Miller by itself, massive change on the defensive front. I was not expecting that kind of impact from Von Miller, who we know is very good, but at the age that he's at, he's had a couple of down seasons. Really, last year, he made some big plays for LA, but you didn't see a consistent strike force like you just saw in week one. Now, granted, week two might happen and Von Miller might do nothing. It doesn't appear that that's going to be the case. Kansas City, I don't want to say they don't miss Tyreek Hill, but they're doing just fine without him. Like, holy shit. You know, the one thing that's actually really fun about this, because even though we all love those huge plays, we love those 60-yard bombs to Tyreek Hill. That is what you live for to an extent with the Kansas City offense. I really love when a quarterback just methodically dissects a defense. Peyton Manning was a little bit more towards the big play, which actually, in all seriousness, I think that's really more so what Mahomes looked like week one. It looked a lot like Peyton Manning without 16 audibles. That was really what I saw there because he was still taking chunk plays. This was not something where he was just throwing the ball underneath like Tom Brady, where Tom Brady will dissect the defense. And even though I enjoy the hell out of it, there's a lot of those passes that are 3 yards. Patrick Mahomes wasn't doing that. He was still taking up ground. He was throwing for yardage. But the difference there is that you didn't really see any of that over the top magic. And I thought that without Tyreek Hill there, I've been nervous about what this offense is going to look like. You can keep playing the too high safety on Patrick Mahomes now all you want. Like I predicted, I'm pretty sure he spent the whole offseason, him and that coaching staff and that full offense have just been practicing. Here's our new offense. We don't have that guy anymore. So here's how we work around that. We're still going to send guys deep, and we got guys with speed that can beat a defense. But that's not what we're looking to do every time. Well, at some point, every drive. So, yes, parts of that will be missed. But I think this opens a door for a new Kansas City Chiefs look offense. And it's going to look really, really cool. And it's going to be really fun. And I actually think it might benefit Patrick Mahomes' stat line. Granted, yeah, I mean, we care more about wins than stat lines. But I do think when you look back at this at the end of the year, you're probably going to see less turnovers. You're probably going to see, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if it's more yards. I don't know about more touchdowns, but I think you're going to see really good stuff from that Chiefs offense this year. Dak is out 6 to 8 weeks. Oof. Sorry, Cowboys fans. Like that's a rough one, man. Like when I say that, I know it sounds a little bit sarcastic, and to an extent it is, but in all seriousness, that's terrible. Like I hate to see a starting quarterback go down in week one for a team that should be a playoff team if their quarterback is healthy. I do think that the Cowboys were a playoff caliber team. I predicted them to win the NFC East. That is now gone. I will fully back the Eagles from this point forward, and the Eagles have themselves an open gateway to taking that division. Now, I'm not with all these guys that are saying that the Eagles are a dark horse Super Bowl team. I don't think that they're there. Even to represent the NFC, I don't see it. I just think that with the Bucs, the Rams, I think it's got to be one of those two teams, unless Arizona really figures it out. But judging by what they did in week one, I know it's week one, and I always tell people not to overreact to week one, and I'm not gonna, but that didn't look great. Ugh. Feel like they might miss Chandler Jones already. First AFC West matchup. It took place, guys. We got the Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. That was fun, man. Like, I would say that you want to see something that's higher scoring, and I get it. But that was a good matchup. And those defenses are both for real. Like, I'm not saying that I don't know that either one's going to be, they might even both be outside of the top 10, but those are top half of the league defenses. And I'd lean towards top 12. I think that they have it going on defensively, and that was incredibly competitive. Like that was a fun game to watch. And granted, I didn't get to see the whole thing because it started on the Chiefs Cardinals game. I think that there was some real gameplay there from both sides, and I am super optimistic about that. Additionally, I think Vegas probably wins that game when it gets played in Vegas later this year. It's crazy. That division's going to be just so much fun. The Seahawks upset the Broncos, huh? Whew. My God. One of the things that I do at bachelor parties, I'm not a smoker. I used to be, but I quit. God, at this point, about 4 years ago. Yeah, it was actually right about this time of year, 4 years ago. And I only smoke them two scenarios: casino, bachelor party. Sometimes those things coincide. That's the only two times I smoke. So I got a pack of cigarettes for the bachelor party. And, well, for some reason, I bought a second pack. Got through everything. After giving out some, smoking some myself, I came back home with like 11 cigarettes still. And I'm like, well, feel like I didn't need to buy that second pack. Well, what else am I going to do with them? Like, I'm not going to toss them. So I've I've just been like having one every other day, I guess, until they're gone. I think I'm down to 9 left. I had one after that Seahawk win. That was sex, baby. I needed my cigarette. Oh, Russ came back to Seattle to prove he made the right move. Oh, sir. Bad choice to come join the 12s for a party. Oh, in all seriousness, when they had the ball driving downfield, like when I saw how much time was left on the clock when they got the ball back, I'm like, shit, this is going to be it. The whole time, the whole drive, I'm thinking, this is it. This is it. Then we got to that fourth down, and for some reason, Denver took like 35 seconds off the clock. No idea why. And then they sent out their kicker for a 64-yard field goal. Well, timeout was called. He takes the kick anyway, bricks it. I'm like, damn it. Definitely had the leg. He's going to even this out now they got his practice kick. Comes back out there. We gave him 2 tries, and the motherfucker couldn't make a field goal. Suck it. Oh, it felt nice. That felt so good. I had a blast, man. Like, I could not have asked the Seahawks to play any better. I full-blown am okay with everything. Like, the only thing that I got right in that game was I picked the under of 43. I got that. I missed the winning team, and I missed the spread. I'll live with it. We're going to talk about my picks in a little bit, by the way, because Colby had a week. But we got some more week 1 headlines to get through here. Aaron Rodgers looked terrible. But don't overreact. Even though I have told you that you're probably going to see a lesser Aaron Rodgers, considering that he doesn't like throwing to people that he doesn't trust, and he can't have trust with any of these guys right now because none of them have caught the ball for shit throughout the course of their entire careers. So I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have one of these MVP type years, but he's still a very good quarterback in this league. Some might say elite. Some also might include myself. So I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be fine, but you're not going to see the same kind of year out of him that you have for, I mean, really the majority of the years that he has spent playing football. I think this will be one of the lower end ones. However, don't overreact so much by what you saw in week 1, because keep in mind, after week 1 last year, there were actual people saying that he was tanking to try to get out of Green Bay because of how poorly he played against the Saints in week 1. Just keep that in mind. Aaron Rodgers might not be the biggest week 1 quarterback. I saw him one time almost lose a game to a really bad Bears team in week 1, and then he just, in the fourth quarter, threw like 3 touchdowns. They won by a point. It's Aaron Rodgers. They'll be okay, but not as good as it usually is. Dolphins high hype offseason. This is it, huh? They're going to have to figure some stuff out. It was cool that they were able to get the ball to Tyreek Hill a pretty good bit because, in all seriousness, that's what the excitement in Miami really was based on. It was, oh, man, now Tua has Tyreek Hill. I don't even think people realize some of the other roster moves that they made. They're just like, holy shit, Tyreek Hill, Tua better play well. He was able to get the ball to him, I think, like 8 times for 93 yards, something around those lines. And that's fine. And it was nice to see that he had a go-to weapon because honestly, I think that is something he's been missing over there in Miami, but that wasn't the explosive thing that we thought we were going to see. And there were a couple of those that he just full-blown missed on too. Tyreek Hill, he's fast. Same with Jalen Waddle. One thing about those two guys, if you get them in space on a slant pattern, they might take it the whole way. We saw Tyreek do it against the Bills in the playoffs last year when he was doing the peace sign while he's running past guys that are technically still ahead of him on the field. Like they're that kind of fast. got to hit them. I keep hearing how accurate Tua is. You got to hit these guys in stride. Cincinnati, they're doing everything they can to prove me right. I said they will not be a playoff team this year, and they lose week 1 to Pittsburgh. It's a divisional matchup. Yeah. And granted, I had Pittsburgh on the spread. I didn't have them winning the game, but I had them on the spread. And I thought that was going to be a pretty close game. When it went to overtime, I wasn't shocked. But Cincinnati, you got to win that game. I don't know what else to tell you, especially when it gets down to the point where all you had to do was make that extra point to get to not even go to overtime, just to win by a point. Yeah, I know it got blocked. Can't really help that. But, I mean, ugh. I don't know about all that. By the way, Minka Fitzpatrick, like, holy shit, since he left Miami, he's been one of the best secondary players in the entire NFL. Trey Lance, huh? I don't know what to tell you about that. Like, I've had my doubts, but I wasn't going to tell you that it was going to be terrible without seeing it. Oh, that's not good. I know it's week 1. I'm not going to entirely overreact to it. I'm still going to leave some thought that, hey, maybe this guy's better than this. Oh, I did not see it. I did not see it. That was just, oh, woof. I mean, Justin Fields had one of the worst games that was played this week, and they still won by 9 points. That's the difference. And if the Niners move back to Jimmy G, that's not a good sign either. Got to be honest. They are in a rough spot there. I don't like what they're doing. All right, guys. I'm going to take a little sip of the beer here to celebrate my picks. Guys, I went every week. I pick the winners. So I do winners, losers of every game. I pick the spread of every game. And I pick the over-under of every game. Now, I only put money on 5 games a week. Those games I do give out on Jacked and Canned. Hate to tell you this, audience, but you actually get my second 5 picks. So between the 2 shows, you would be getting 10 of my 16 picks. And some weeks, it'll be like 10 out of 14 picks, 10 out of 12 picks. So if you listen to both shows, you're going to get a lot of my picks. And if you took them this week, holy shit, did you do good. I went 11-4-1 picking the winners. So just picking outright winners, 11-4-1. I'm okay with that. Like, it's not the best I've done, but it's good. It's definitely good. I would take that week. Picking against the spread, 13-3. The only 3 that I missed, let's see if I remember them off the top of my head. I know that I had Denver -6.5, and they lost. I had Tennessee -5.5. They lost. I don't remember the other one offhand. It's okay. We're not going to get bogged down in it, but 13-3 on spreads. That's a phenomenal week for me. I'm usually somewhere, like, I'll have an 11-5 week here and there. A lot of the weeks, it's like 8-6, 6-8, because a lot of the times there's not actually 16 games going on every week. That I usually live somewhere in there, and I just try to do better, or, try to be above 500 more often than I'm not, so that at the end of the year, I'm up like 15 games. That's usually a solid year. I mean, I've had years that I've crushed it, but 13-3 is damn good. That's first round bye kind of stuff. Over-unders, I went 14-2. I missed on the Rams-Bills. I had the over. And the Rams put up nothing, so I lost that one. And I had the over on Vegas and the Chargers. That was the other one. I had just those 2. Everything else I nailed. I was so pumped. So pumped. Like, over-unders I find to be relatively random. Like, you can usually get a pretty good idea. But there's a lot of times with that I'll either be 14-2 or I'll be 2-14. But even those are still relatively rare. It's usually a little bit closer to 500 either way. 14-2 is awesome. I'll take that any day. That's a guaranteed first round bye. So, guys, let's look ahead to week 2. We've got our picks. This is what I'm giving you guys for this week on Nobody Is Shiftier. We've got Cleveland -6 against the Jets. Jets are going to Cleveland. I still think with Joe Flacco in there that the Jets are just going to be entirely stagnant offensively. And the Browns, look, they have a very good roster. And with Jacoby Brissett running it, it's going to be fine. It's not going to be great, but it's going to be fine. They're going to be able to put up enough points that they're going to be able to beat the Jets by more than 6. We've got something that I almost feel like I did this wrong because I feel like at no point should I actually have this team on my picks. And I'm going to say the exact same thing with the next one as well. I got Jacksonville +4 against Indy. Indy's going to Jacksonville and Indy's favored by 4. I just saw them tie the Texans. And even though it's week 1, so I still don't know exactly what I get out of the Colts this year, I'm not going to sit here and bank on the Colts just being better than what I just saw because I don't know what I'm going to see from them the rest of the year. Jacksonville, I think I got a pretty good handle on Jacksonville. They're going to have some fun moments. They're going to be an all right team. They're definitely going to be below 500, but I think that they're going to have at least a little bit of optimism in their atmosphere. Jacksonville might win this game. I think I'm going to pick it with Indy as the winner. I haven't decided yet, but I feel really good about Jacksonville +4 at home. So I'm going there. The next one, once again, I feel like I'm doing it wrong if I'm taking this team, but holy shit, I actually believe this. I got Detroit -1.5 with Washington coming to town. I think that the Lions are good offensively. And I mean that. Like, I think they're legitimately a good offense. The Commanders are going to be up and down. They're going to be inconsistent. You're not really sure what you're getting out of the Washington Commanders week to week. So I think that I can stick with something that I know is going to put up some semblance of points. I'm going to go Detroit, and the spread's so low that I feel like if I think Detroit's going to win, and I do, I think Detroit's going to win. It feels weird to say. I don't want to say it with confidence. I don't want to say it with my chest. It's the Lions. 4th pick, we got Cincinnati -7.5 at Dallas. With it being Cooper Rush there, I don't know what Dallas is going to be capable of. I think that Cincinnati is going to be able to put up something against Dallas, and I don't know that Dallas is going to be able to reciprocate from a points perspective. I do think that Cincinnati is also looking very much to not be 0-2. That is a big thing that I'm taking into account this week. There are teams right now that lost in week 1 that do not want to lose in week 2. And I think we're going to see some really hard-fought battles, even in games in which, well, if it was week 6, they might not have to worry about it so much. But you don't want to start off the season 0-2 if you're projecting a playoff to be a playoff team for the year. Which brings me to my 5th pick. Tennessee +10 versus Buffalo. Buffalo's heading to Tennessee. Buffalo's favored by 10. Look, I think that Tennessee should win the NFC or the AFC South. If they're going to do that, they're going to have to at least get started up this year because they started up 13-0 or 14-0 on the Giants and then ended up just coughing up that game. You don't now want to go 0-2. They still will be because the Bills are not going to lose this game. But I think that Tennessee is going to give everything that they got. They're going to put their all in there, and they're going to keep this game within single digits. I don't even know if it's necessarily going to be one score. This might be a 9-point game. I just feel like 10 is too much. And this is obviously when I got to the point of like, shit, I got to come up with another game because I got into the spot where I was just becoming less and less confident with my picks. I feel good about the ones that I'm giving out on Jacked and Canned. I felt good about Cleveland, and I oddly feel good about Jacksonville and Detroit. I think I feel good about the Bengals. The Titans, that scares me. Like, I'm betting against the Bills, who are clearly about to be a buzzsaw across the entirety of the NFL. Frightens me, but that's what I legitimately think is going to happen. I knew I was going to make the pick, whether I gave it to you guys or not. So I figured, well, Since I know I'm going to make this pick and I'm still not sure what I want to do with about, I guess 6 of the other games. I did pick one of those after that, but I've got 5 more games that I still haven't decided what I want to do with as far as the spread goes. So we're gonna still talk amongst myself about it. We got some week 2 headlines to get to here. We start off tonight with the Chargers and Chiefs. Oh, guys. Thursday night football live on Breaking Down the Tape is back, and the Shifty Hippo will be there once again tonight. Watching this game, I am psyched. I mean, the Chargers Chiefs, that's like you're not going to get many better matchups in the entirety of the NFL than this specifically. I think that Bills Chiefs is the number one game to watch. After that, I mean, Chargers Chiefs is right up there. You could basically just take the Bills and then the Chiefs and form separate things against the same teams. That's all your interesting matchups. Oh, it's the Rams Bills. Oh, the Rams Chiefs, which by the way we'll get this year as well. That's the cool shit. That's the games you want to be watching. I'm very excited about this one. I haven't made a decision on the spread, although I am taking Kansas City to win the game, but the spread is -4, which I hate when it's -4. The Chargers are good. Like, I don't want to, and it's a divisional matchup. This could be a 3-point game, guys. Pittsburgh 2-0. New England 0-2. Yeah, I think it happens. As I look to that game, for one, this is one of the picks I gave out on Jacked and Canned, I guess, we'll give out on Jacked and Canned. I guess I'll say it here because of the way that I wrote this note. Guys, New England is favored in this game, and I can't figure out why. New England looks entirely inept right now, and maybe this is just like a Belichick with coming off of a loss kind of thing, but they have no ability to create offense. Pittsburgh doesn't have a lot of that, but I think Trubisky will play better than he did in week 1. He's got at least a couple of weapons there with Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. I think he's got some stuff there. Plus, he's got the running game with Najee Harris, who is declared healthy to play this Sunday. I think that they're going to be fine. I don't know if this is just because TJ Watt got hurt. Like, that sucks. TJ Watt's great. You're due for a sack a game, if not more. But I just don't see how Pittsburgh loses this game to New England in Pittsburgh, by the way. This one just doesn't make any sense. That one was one that jumped right off to me. I was like, what? This doesn't even compute. Like I demand a recount. So I think we're legitimately going to see a Pittsburgh team that, let's be honest, probably isn't a playoff team. I think we see them start off 2-0 this year, and I think that New England, who's been great for so long, even made the playoffs last year, probably not going to be that team again this year. The AFC's tough. Trey Lance, this would be the time to get it started. You're going against the Seahawks, who are coming off of what really, let's be honest, and I could testify to this. That felt like my Super Bowl. So I know it did to a lot of Seahawk fans. Like, there's still guys probably out there in the streets, like, parading around because the Seahawks beat Russell Wilson. Yeah, it was really cool. It was great. We're still not a good team. I love what I saw from our defense, but Trey Lance should be able to beat us. Can he? Might want to, I'm not going to say that I'm giving a pick, by the way, but you might want to take a look at the spread and just wonder if that's actually possible for Trey Lance to even win by that amount of points. Can you just factor in, let's just say that you think the Seahawks might score 10. Could Trey Lance put up 20? I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Week 2, can the Rams pull it together? Obviously, they're gonna. It seems to be a big headline that's going on. A lot of people are worried about what they saw with LA in week 1. Keep this in mind. the team that is kind of celebrating their Super Bowl win in week one, like they're being presented their rings, they're having their own, that whole little ceremony that goes on right before the game. There's a lot of times you see the Super Bowl winner lose in week one the next year. That happens. And they also played the Bills. I need to reemphasize they played the Bills, who are on a warpath, who are pissed off at the way the last season ended, and they're not here for your shit. They're coming to take everything. I think the Rams are going to bounce back just fine. They're a 10-point favorite this week, and I don't think that that's a mistake. I feel like I'm just giving you guys my Jack and Can picks. I feel like I just probably shouldn't talk about the games that I've already picked. Will Russ get it started against Houston? If there is a time to do it, this is the time. Like it's the Texans. In Kolb's personal power rankings, they are still ranked even after the tie with Indy. They are ranked 32nd of 32 teams. You gotta smoke Houston. At Denver, you gotta smoke Houston. If you don't absolutely obliterate Houston, I am now losing faith in you. I can understand week one. You went to Seattle. Very emotional game for both the entirety of the Seahawks organization and to an extent for Russell Wilson. I know he seems like a robot, but you know that hurt him a little when he got booed. Also, by the way, bad on Seahawk fans. Don't boo him. All of you. Get over yourselves. Be better than that. He brought us our only Super Bowl. Oh, he threw a pick at the one next year. He didn't call the damn play. Leave him alone. I heard a rumor going around, by the way, that Russ actually audibled to that. No, he didn't. Like, for some reason, we thought we were smarter than the New England Patriots with Tom Brady, and we decided to throw the ball on the 1 yard line. Like, that was just a terrible decision. That was not Russ's decision. If anything, I wish it. Oh God, he should have just audibled to like a 24 power. That would have been so much better. All right. Arizona at Vegas. Somebody's going to be 0-2 out of that. Personally, I do think that Vegas is going to win this game. I think that it's a mixture of two things. One of which, what I saw from Arizona was completely lackluster in week one. And again, week one, and it was the Chiefs. So not the easiest of circumstances, but they did not look good. Vegas, they looked incredibly competitive and weren't able to beat a division rival that honestly is one of the top probably 5 teams in the league. Okay. I think Vegas is going to win this game. I don't love where the spread's at 5.5. That's one where I get nervous with it because I'm like, I mean, if Arizona plays like they did last week, yeah, it's going to be Vegas minus. Just insert a number. They'll cover it. But if Arizona plays the way that they should, a team fighting to not be 0-2, a team that thinks that they should be a playoff team, which they should, trying to battle, get themselves out of that 0-2 category entirely. You start off 1-1, all right. Even if you lose the next 2, at least you're 1-3. You got that 1. You go 0-2, you're looking at a real uphill battle. There's stats out there, and I want to say that it's something along the lines of close to like 80% of teams that start off 0-2 don't make the playoffs. I think it's high 70s. You don't want to be that team. I like Vegas's odds here. It's in Vegas as well, which helps them out, and they look like the better team out of the two. But I find this interesting. One team that I had both these teams being playoff teams. One of them is going to start out 0-2, and it's not going to bode well for them. I lean that's going to be Arizona that starts out 0-2. Joe Burrow struggles in week one, huh? 4 interceptions. Well, let's be honest. They overachieved last year. By the way, I just now, after they lost week one, started hearing people talk about this, and it's kind of pissing me off. I'm like, not one motherfucker was out there saying this 2 weeks ago even. Nobody was saying, oh, Cincinnati's going to come back to the pack. Yeah, they overachieved last year. This is the shit that I've been saying pretty much after the Super Bowl ended. I was like, well, that was fun for the Bengals, but that's not the real Bengals. All of a sudden, they lose week one. Joe Burrow has a bad game, and everybody's out here saying this shit that I've been saying all. Like, I'm not one of these people that really tries to like credit myself over the top, even though I think I've done it like 6 times today. I honestly, I think it's just because I'm getting cocky because of how good my picks went in week one. And I feel like I am now just like I'm I'm Chris Berman. I'm the Swami. I know what's going to happen before it happens. So maybe I'm just a little bit feeling myself too much. But I mean, guys, we saw this here for a long time. The Bengals had to fight to get into the playoffs last year. They damn near didn't make it to the playoffs. The Super Bowl run was really cool. Like, that was fun. It's not the Bengals. It's not what they are. Aaron Rodgers, week 2 against Chicago. This one's going to be interesting because Aaron Rodgers had really one of the worst weeks that we've honestly that we probably ever seen out of him. He had something like this last year against Seattle, oddly enough, when Russell Wilson just got back from his finger injury, and because Russell Wilson also he was just back from injury. That game ended up being like 17-0, I think. It was just a terrible watch. It was on prime time too. I don't remember if it was Monday night or Sunday night, but it was just a bad game. And neither one of them looked impressive. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have these often, but I think that game last week is somewhat of a sign that it's going to take him a little bit to get together with these receivers. I think he's going to be able to get it figured out to make them a playoff team. Now I'm not sure that they're winning this division. Honestly, in all seriousness, after that game with Minnesota, I also feel pretty hot on Minnesota right now. Granted, I fall for this every year with Minnesota. It's always the same 3 teams. Granted, one of them's kind of out of there now. Houston, I always did it when Deshaun Watson was there. I was convinced they were going to be better than they were. I did it with Atlanta for a little while there after their Super Bowl. I just was sure that they were better than they were playing, and they just never were. And Minnesota, who perpetually just keeps me hanging on. It pisses me off. I end up picking them for stuff all the time. And even though I believe I had them in the playoffs this year as a wild card team, hey, they might win this division. I'm pretty excited about that. Speaking of, we do have the Vikings-Eagles matchup, which, by the way, this all of a sudden might be 2 division winners to be clashing in week 2. This is going to be fun. This is one of our Monday night games this week. I'm leaning Minnesota's way here. Again, this might be where I'm kicking myself. Philadelphia looked great in week 1. They really did. But I think that what Minnesota has is more sustainable, and it's not going to be as erratic. Where with the Eagles offense, Jalen Hurts, he's going to have good games, and he's also going to have games where he probably throws for like 127 yards. It's just the quarterback that he is, and that's okay. As long as he's getting the most out of his throws, I think that that's a way that they can still win. But I have more faith and trust in what Minnesota does offensively than I do in Philadelphia. So I'm leaning that direction, but this is one where, I mean, I'm not going to be shocked either way. The Eagles did look, I mean, they put up 38 in week 1. Granted, they allowed 35, by the way, nailed that backdoor cover. Had the Lions +4. Lost by 3, baby. Bad week for kickers, huh? Like, I don't have any numbers in front of me. I don't have anything to go off here. But the amount of potentially game-winning kicks that were missed, crazy. Crazy. I felt like it was happening in damn near every game. Like, every game that was close, there was a missed field goal somewhere. It was nuts. There's a lot of stats out there that show that every team's current kicker, for the most part, is their best kicker by percentage of all time. And I'm not going to dispute the facts on that, but nearly every team's current kicker has the highest kicking percentage as far as like with a qualifier of it being at least like, I don't know, 100 kicks or whatever the case may be. Yeah, this week they did not come through. This week they were garbage. I'm glad that Seattle hit their one field goal. Luckily, it was early enough in the game that the pressure wasn't built. I don't know what to tell you guys. One thing that does suck, my fantasy team, which I don't care nearly as much about as my picks, but I'm playing it, so I might as well care a little bit. So I end up losing to Mr. Zach in week one, and I mean, I wouldn't call it close. I lost by probably about 20 points, but I had hung in there. I had good weeks from Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. My running backs shit the bed entirely. Najee Harris got hurt, so he got me shit. Derrick Henry, well, he didn't have such a great game either. Like, he actually played pretty poorly. I didn't really get a whole lot of chance to watch any of the highlights on that, so I don't know how much was on him, how much was on the line, how much was maybe just a mix. I'd lean towards the latter there, but I really don't know. I had Mike Evans. He did all right. Had Darren Waller. He had two decent plays late in the game, and that gave him a respectable score. It was still low for Darren Waller. Derek Carr really likes Devontae Adams, by the way. Just throwing that out there. That might actually hurt my fantasy team. I had Mike Williams with the Chargers, wide receiver, big guy, gets a lot of catches. Yeah, he put up a goose egg for me. He got nothing. He got thrown to one time. I don't know what the hell happened there. Had DK Metcalf. Yeah, I mean, we're still making sure that we're including DK in the offense, but I feel like I probably just should have gotten somebody else, and it's nothing against DK. It's Geno Smith. Like, he can't do all that cool deep throw shit. So that's probably going to kill that for me a little bit. Had Harrison Butker. Actually got me a pretty good score week one. He got me what he was projected to get me, even while getting hurt. But he's out for week two. So I'm down a kicker. I'm not dropping anybody that I have to pick up a kicker for this week. This is also a 2-kicker league for some reason. So I also have Ryan Suckup. So I'll get some points from a kicker. I'm not dropping like a backup running back. Like, I've got Antonio Gibson sitting on the bench. And right now I got Najee Harris there too, because I've got Javonte Williams. I put him in for Najee, because even though Najee is cleared to play, I usually, when somebody gets cleared to play late in the week, I don't feel great about starting them in something like fantasy. So I'll let Najee ride the pine this week, figure it out. But yeah, all of a sudden, I'm not looking incredibly optimistic for week two. The big win that I have is just Josh Allen in general. I mean, Josh Allen's going to give me points, and I'm sure Derrick Henry will at some point. Stephon Diggs is going to give me points every week. Those other guys are going to have to step it up for me. I mean, granted, I'm sure Tom Brady will get his shit going too. I like, by the way, the big deal that was made out of his 11 days off, and he didn't look phenomenal in week one, but did he get the job done? Yeah, he did. By the way, Dak Prescott got hurt in the fourth quarter, so I don't want to hear that that's why the Cowboys lost. Cowboys fans, get over yourselves. Brady will be back. I'm not worried about Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going to put up tons of numbers, make my fantasy team awesome for, a few weeks at a time. And outside of my other players, I'm not too worried about him. I'm a little bit more worried about Mike Evans, because I know that Tom Brady likes to spread the ball to whoever's open, and a lot of times that's not always going to be Mike Evans. All right, guys. On that note, I am going to get out of here. Lots of good stuff tonight, or really this whole weekend, but tonight specifically, Chargers Chiefs. Check it out. Check it out with the guys on Breaking Down the Tape. We'll be doing that live at Breaking Down the Tape. Pretty much anywhere where you can consume video. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's going to be there. We're going to have a blast. We'll be covering the entire first half of the game, starting up right a little bit before kickoff. I'm excited about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Nobody Is Shiftier.